Thursday, April 15th, 2021, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at why gold and silver confiscation is going on right now. And you might be thinking, what are you talking about? Well, I've spoken about this before. For those of you who have been around for a while watching my videos, but of course I keep getting new subscribers, and we need to rehash some of these subjects, and I think it's very appropriate right now to talk about that. Before I start though, I like to say that I went for a haircut yesterday. Yes, we're allowed to go for a haircut now here in the UK. I know I don't have much hair left, but I did need a trim. Bitcoin as well. I wanted to talk about that. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. I think, yeah, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies are a little bit of a distraction away from precious metals. We don't really know who wrote up that Bitcoin white paper. I think it was 2008 or 9. I'm not too sure the exact date. We're told it's Satoshi Nakamoto. Well, it could have been anyone, right? It could have been the NSA. There's people who talk about the NSA having looked at cryptocurrencies back in the 90s. Yeah, I think cryptocurrencies have been helpful in waking people up to the nature of our monetary system. I mean, I've been looking at the fiat currency system and its fragility since around 2002, even a little before. And at the time, very few people looked into that. It was more after the '08 crisis. I think a lot of people started looking into that, and then they came up with cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin especially. And a lot of people that comment here or watch me think, why aren't you in Bitcoin? Well, I am actually, indirectly. I was just looking yesterday at a fund that I invested in, and it's a private fund. What does that mean? Well, it's a fund that's not traded on any exchange. The way to get your money out is, there's a few ways, I guess. The way that it's working now is that they pay a dividend once in a while, depending on the holdings they have. If they're able to sell some of their holdings, we get paid a dividend. In the beginning of this fund, back in 2016, that's when I bought it, they were actually mining Bitcoin. So we received a little bit of Bitcoin dividends back then. And we've received dividends from small companies that they've sold. I put $1,000 into this fund, and you might have heard that yesterday Coinbase, which is the biggest crypto exchange, they did a direct listing or initial public offering, and they're valued almost at $100 billion. So the biggest holding in our fund is another exchange called Kraken. They're expected to do their IPO in the second half of next year. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that my $1,000 fund right now is valued at $24,000. So, and I think that's with Kraken valued at $20 billion. So we'll have to see. But I can't go and sell that fund. I have to wait. I have to be patient. So just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not completely not involved in cryptocurrencies. And as I've said many times, yeah, there's something about it that doesn't convince me. I understand the technology, but I still believe gold and silver are money because you can hold them. Bitcoin, you can't extinguish the debt with the exception of paying someone with fiat currency. You can't hold your Bitcoin. What about confiscation? Yeah. So I think the cryptocurrencies have served to put a lot of people away from precious metals, especially younger people. But I think that's changing, especially in the silver space. People are looking at silver more and more, and for some reason it caught on in February this year, and even before that, I think. But I think Wall Street Bets helped the phenomenon, and I just wanted to let you know as well, Wall Street Silver is a subreddit group. I'm in there. I think they've got about 52,000 members already. And there's been some kind of confusion with the YouTube channel Wall Street Silver. I told you I was going to be interviewed by them about a month ago. And this individual came. We did the interview. Person had problem with the internet. And the person said, oh, I'm going to call you back to do another interview. And I was contacted recently by the real Wall Street Silver through Twitter, and I'm going to be interviewing Ivan, who runs Wall Street Silver subreddit. I think he's involved in the GoFundMe for Wall Street Silver. I think the interview is going to be tomorrow night. I'm interviewing him. It is a sponsored video, just to let you know. They are paying me. I never do one of those, but they offered. And so there's two Wall Street Silver channels. The one that is the official is called Wall Street Silver Official. It has just about 4,000 subscribers. I think they started out in March. And the other one is Wall Street Silver, not official. They've got about 9,000. But the subreddit group is linked to Wall Street Silver Official. So it looks like someone is was trying to impersonate the Wall Street Silver subreddit group. So it's a bit confusing. So now to why I think the confiscation is happening in gold and silver right now, or has been. Well, I think we have ourselves to blame a little bit in the precious metal space, and yeah, I'll admit it, with the talk of manipulation, and they do manipulate the markets. It puts a lot of people off. People see Bitcoin going to 64,000, things, all the other altcoins moving, and gold and silver going nowhere, and they say, well, what's the point, right? So they don't buy the gold and silver, but at the same time, we're seeing huge shortages of silver, high premiums to buy gold. There is interest in gold and silver, but it's putting a lot of people off. And by doing that, it's a de facto confiscation, because it discourages people from buying the gold and silver. The gold and silver that you could have bought if you hadn't been discouraged is going to be bought by the bankers, the central banks, the big corporations. And why would they do that? Well, because there's only one way really to rebalance the system. Yes, I'll grant the crypto people, cryptocurrencies might be a small part of it. Yes, you have to admit it's a 2 trillion market right now. It could become $1 trillion in 6 months, or it could become 3 trillion. Very volatile, of course. But historically, there's only one way to rebalance the monetary system, and that is through gold. Silver just goes along for the ride. It's not official. So they won't have to confiscate the gold and silver this time, because I think very few people own it as on a percentage basis. I think if you look at the investable asset world, only about something like 0.5% of all investable assets in the world are in gold and silver, precious metals. So yes, they've done a good job of confiscating the gold and silver, right? So for those people who are concerned that there will be confiscation, and of course, nothing is certain in life. They could still confiscate gold and silver in the US. I would say the probability personally is small, and hopefully that will put you at ease, but it might not. There are ways, of course, of avoiding confiscation because Executive Order 6102 was written up, I think, by a guy called John Wooden. He was the Secretary of the Treasury under FDR. I think that executive order came out in March of 1933 when FDR came to power. And John Wooden was a coin collector, so he wanted to protect his gold coins. So he put that clause there that collectors' coins would be safeguarded. So if you buy constitutional gold coins from before 1933, you should be okay. Or there are also other foreign coins that you can buy, like sovereigns, gold sovereigns in the UK. I think a lot of people in the 60s, I've read about John Exter, who was a central banker gold bug, buying sovereigns in the US. That was a way around the confiscation. So there are ways around it. I'm not a total expert. I think Lynette Zeng is. And I'll be interviewing Lynette Zeng in May this year. I think it's towards the middle or second half of May. She'll be on the channel. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit with Lynette, the subject of confiscation. She does a lot of numismatics as well. And she helps people, how can I say, have a portfolio of coins that help fight confiscation. But as I said, I think all the shenanigans that goes on in the paper market puts a lot of people off, and they're happy for that, and no one's going to be able to fight JP Morgan or the Fed or the BIS or the Bank of England. But it doesn't mean to say that I'm not going to keep trying to expose these people, because people have to learn how the system is manipulated, that it's a phony system. And they can't keep doing this forever, because the law of supply and demand, the free market law, says that if you suppress the price of any commodity for too long, you create shortages, and you have actually the opposite effect that you want to have of keeping prices down. But so why do they do this? Yeah, so people don't get involved. They don't want people involved. We saw that WikiLeaks document from 1974 that they decided, the powers that be, the Anglo-American establishment, when gold became legal again, January 1st, 1975, they decided to set up the Comex gold futures contract to keep the gold price volatile, to discourage people from getting the physical metal. It also discourages big institutions as well. So, yeah, because they don't want people to own gold. There's the old saying, the person or the nation or the sovereign country that has the gold makes the rules, and it hasn't changed. So with that, let's look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:23 a.m. London time. We've got spot gold, or the paper price, at $17.47. It's up $10. Another frustrating day again. Early on, just before the US came in, gold seemed to be doing well, and then the US came in and they sold it off. But right now it's rebounded. The high has been 17.48, the low 17.34. So we're up 2/3%. Silver is up 15 cents. Also about 2/3% at 25.56. The high has been 25.62, the low 25.30. The Dow futures up just under 100 points. NASDAQ 100 future up 60. S&P 500 up 14 points. Sterling up 0.1% at 137.94. The euro is creeping back up, almost back to 120. I think we got down to around 117 recently. The dollar is down slightly versus the yen at 108.83. Dollar is unchanged versus the yuan 653.35. High-grade copper continuing to give us signals that the consequence of the inflation is starting to permeate into commodity prices. It's now at 416, up another 0.8%. WTI crude, wow, 63.20. I think we moved higher yesterday. Right now it's unchanged overnight. And the 10-year yield looks like it's under control a little bit here. It's at 162, down about 1.5 basis points. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.